rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Elena's cramped Manhattan apartment like 1,000 accusatory fists, each drop echoing the shatter of her world. She sat curled on the cold hardwood floor, her silk blouse, the one he'd once called her armor, clinging damply to her skin from tears she couldn't stop. In her hand, the engagement ring glinted mockingly under the dim lamp, its diamond a cruel prism refracting memories of promises whispered in candlelit dinners. Forever, he'd said, just 3 weeks ago. But forever had crumbled last night in a sterile hotel lobby, his words slicing deeper than any blade. I can't do this anymore, Elena. It's not you. It's the life I want now. Betrayal burned in her chest, a wildfire of denial and rage. How could he leave her for her, the intern with the vacant smile and ambition sharper than glass? She rocked back and forth, sobs racking her body, the phone slipping from her fingers to reveal a cascade of unread texts from friends. Asterisk, are you okay? Call me. Asterisk, no, she wasn't okay. She was unraveling, thread by thread, into the void of a woman who'd built her heart on sand. In that moment of raw, guttural despair, Elena wondered if she'd ever surface again, or if this was the end of the Elena she'd known, the one who believed in love's unyielding grip. Elena's fingers trembled as she wiped her eyes, the mascara streaking like war paint across her cheeks. It was 8:47 a.m., and the world outside her window blurred into a gray smear of umbrellas and hurried souls, all oblivious to the apocalypse unfolding in her one-bedroom sanctuary. She couldn't face the day, couldn't face the empty side of the bed where Marcus's, no, her Marcus's, indentations still lingered like a ghost. But work waited for no broken heart. As a junior marketing exec at a boutique firm, she'd clawed her way up from internships fueled by caffeine and blind optimism, only to have it all feel hollow now. Pull it together, she muttered to her reflection in the darkened screen of her laptop, forcing a smile that cracked like brittle ice. Denial was her shield, fragile but fierce. Asterisk, this is temporary. He'll call, apologize, come back. We were soulmates. Asterisk, the lie tasted bitter, but she swallowed it whole, scheduling a virtual team huddle to mask the chaos. The Zoom link blinked innocently in her inbox. Q3 strategy sync. Join now. She clicked without a second glance, propping the laptop on her kitchen island amid scattered takeout containers and a half-empty wine bottle from last night's vigil. The screen flickered to life, but instead of her team's familiar faces, Sarah's perpetual ponytail, Mike's coffee-stained mug, a single thumbnail appeared, a man in a tailored navy suit, his broad shoulders filling the frame against a backdrop of floor-to-ceiling bookshelves in what looked like a penthouse office. He was black, mid-40s perhaps, with skin like polished mahogany and eyes that held the depth of ancient rivers, framed by wire-rimmed glasses. His name tag read, Marcus Hale, CEO, Hale Innovations. Elena's heart stuttered. Wrong call. Panic surged, hot and immediate, but before she could slam the mute button, his voice rumbled through her speakers, warm and unhurried like aged bourbon. Good morning, Elena? The invite says you're from marketing. She froze, cursor hovering over leave meeting. This wasn't her team. This was some high-stakes boardroom blunder. But something in his tone, curious, not annoyed, pinned her in place. I think I clicked the wrong link, she stammered, her voice a raw scrape, still thick from crying. She muted herself then, but not before a sob escaped, muffled but unmistakable. On his end, Marcus paused, the agenda slide forgotten. He'd seen that sound before, the quiet unraveling of someone carrying invisible weights. At 42, Hale Innovations was his empire, built from the ashes of a foster care childhood and a marriage that had imploded a decade ago under the strain of boardroom battles and empty cribs. Loneliness was his silent board member, attending every call, whispering doubts in the quiet hours. But this woman's face, pale olive skin flushed with grief, dark curls tousled like she'd fought a storm, stirred something dormant. No rush to leave, he said softly, unmuting her gently. Mistakes like this, they're the universe's way of saying hello. Take a breath with me. She unmuted, surprised by the steadiness in his voice, an anchor in her storm. I'm sorry, Mr. Hale. This is embarrassing. I should, but he leaned forward, his smile crinkling the corners of his eyes, revealing a vulnerability that belied his CEO armor. Marcus, please. An embarrassment? That's just pain wearing a mask. I've worn it enough to recognize it. His words landed like a bomb, unexpected and piercing. For the first time since the breakup, Elena felt seen, not as the jilted fiancé, but as a woman mid-fracture. The call stretched awkwardly at first, his team trickling in with polite coughs and agenda resets. Elena lingered in the background, a digital specter, but Marcus wove her in subtly. Elena here brings a fresh marketing lens. Perhaps she can weigh in on our rebrand. Flustered, she offered a half-baked idea on emotional storytelling, her voice gaining traction as he nodded, genuinely engaged. That's gold, he murmured privately in chat. Asterisk, thank you for staying. Sometimes, the wrong door leads to the right conversation. Asterisk, her chest tightened, not with the sharp stab of betrayal, but a dull ache of possibility. Yet denial clawed back. Asterisk, this is nothing. Just politeness. Go home to your real life. Elena, where he might still call. Asterisk. By noon, she'd logged off, but the echo of his kindness lingered like a half-remembered dream. She wandered her apartment, trailing fingers over framed photos of them, vacations in Santorini, her head on his shoulder. Pain crashed in waves now, no longer dulled by the morning's numbness. She collapsed onto the couch, curling into a ball as memories assaulted her. The way he'd trace her spine in the dark, promising empires they'd build together. Liar, her mind screamed, but her heart whispered, what if I was the empire he couldn't handle? Tears flowed freely again, soaking the throw pillow that still smelled faintly of his cologne. She scrolled his socials obsessively, denial morphing into a masochistic ritual. His new posts with her, all glossy filters and stolen glances. Asterisk, it's a phase. He'll see I'm better. Asterisk. A knock shattered the spiral. Her neighbor, Mrs. Rivera, a wiry widow in her 70s with hands calloused from decades of sewing dreams into reality. Mija, I heard the rain and your silence. Soup. The older woman thrust a Tupperware of caldo gallego forward, her eyes sharp with the wisdom of losses stacked like bricks. Elena hesitated, the gesture a crack in her isolation. Inside, over steaming bowls at the scarred oak table, Mrs. Rivera didn't pry, but her stories did the work. Tales of a husband lost to the bottle, children scattered like autumn leaves. Pain, it sits in your bones like winter, she said, stirring her spoon. But denial? That's the frost that keeps it there. Let it thaw, even if it floods. Elena nodded, throat tight, a small victory in simply listening without shattering. As Mrs. Rivera left, Elena whispered to the empty room. Maybe it's not all my fault. The words hung fragile, a first fracture in the wall of self-blame. That evening, an email pinged, asterisk from Marcus Hale. Subject, Destiny's Wrong Link, asterisk her pulse quickened. Asterisk Elena, if you're open, coffee tomorrow? No agendas, just two people who accidentally collided. M asterisk pain twisted with curiosity, but she typed back. Yes. In the quiet, she traced the ring's outline on her finger, not ready to remove it, but feeling its weight lighten, ever so slightly. The rain had eased to a drizzle, mirroring the tentative calm in her chest. Yet the night brought fresh torment, dreams of chases down endless halls, his hand slipping from hers. She woke gasping, the denial's grip loosening into raw ache. Who am I without him? The question echoed, unanswered, as dawn crept in, promising nothing but the slow bleed of healing. The cafe on the corner of 57th hummed with the symphony of clinking porcelain and murmured ambitions, a neutral ground where Elena arrived 10 minutes early, her reflection in the window showing a woman pieced together with effort, jeans that hugged her curves like old friends, a scarf to hide the shadows under her eyes. Reflection had begun in the sleepless hours since their Zoom mishap, not the frantic replay of betrayals, but a gentler sifting, like hands in riverbed gravel searching for overlooked gems. What did I ignore? She journaled at 3 a.m., pages filling with the unsaid. The late nights he'd dismiss her dreams as cute hobbies, the way her voice had shrunk to fit his silences. Pain lingered, a bruise tender to the touch, but now it coexisted with curiosity. Who was Elena? Untethered. Marcus's invitation felt like a thread pulled from the tangle, not a lifeline, but a mirror. He was already there, at a corner table bathed in the soft glow of pendant lights, his presence commanding yet unassuming. A man whose loneliness etched fine lines around his mouth, softened by a smile that reached his eyes when she approached. "You came," he said, standing with old-school courtesy, pulling out her chair. No suit today, a cashmere sweater in deep charcoal hugged his frame, revealing the subtle strength of someone who'd run marathons of the soul. Over lattes that steamed like shared secrets, conversation flowed haltingly at first, surface ripples about the city's relentless pulse, the absurdity of accidental connections. But Elena, emboldened by the stranger's safety, let slip a shard. "I joined your call right after. Everything fell apart. My fiancé, ex, left for someone else. I feel like a fool for not seeing it." Marcus's gaze held hers, not with pity, but recognition, a quiet nod that said, "I've mapped this territory." "Fool? Nah. Betrayal's the thief that steals your compass." Mine did the same. Wife walked out when the company tanked early on. Said I was married to the grind, not her. Left me with a penthouse full of echoes and a heart that forgot how to trust. His voice dipped, vulnerability cracking the CEO facade, and in that shared fracture, Elena glimpsed his isolation. Boardrooms of yes men, no one to ask about the boy who dreamed of stars under foster home roofs. "Loneliness," he confessed, stirring his cup absently. "It's not empty space. It's the weight of what you carry alone." Their talk meandered into reflection's deeper waters, her admitting the denial that had kept her chained. "I thought love meant endurance, no matter the cost." He countered with stories of his own shadows, the pain of rebuilding after divorce, the small victories like mentoring at-risk youth through his foundation. "Healing isn't linear, Elena. It circles, back to pain, then out to light." A warmth bloomed in her chest, unfamiliar and fierce. Not romance's spark, but the glow of being witnessed. As they parted with a lingering handshake, his palm calloused from more than keyboards, she felt a shift, a small triumph. "I spoke my truth, and the world didn't end." Days blurred into a rhythm of stolen messages and serendipitous meets. A park bench under autumn's fiery canopy, where Marcus introduced her to Lila, his 9-year-old niece, a whirlwind of braids and boundless questions fostered after her parents' accident. "Uncle Marcus says mistakes are magic doors," Lila declared, handing Elena a crumpled drawing of a woman with wings sprouting from a cracked heart. The child's unfiltered joy pierced Elena's lingering pain. Lila's chatter about schoolyard heartbreaks. "Timmy said I run funny, but I run fast anyway," sparked a realization. Resilience isn't absence of hurt, it's dancing through it. Marcus watched, his eyes soft with pride and ache, whispering later as Lila skipped ahead. "She reminds me we're all just kids learning to fly. You, Elena, you're already spreading those wings." Reflection deepened in solitude now, no longer a battlefield but a sanctuary. Elena unpacked boxes long sealed, journals from her preem days, filled with sketches of ad campaigns that lit her up like fireworks. One evening, alone with chamomile tea and the city's hum, she penned a letter to her ex, not to send, but to release. Asterisk, "You broke us, but you didn't break me. I was whole before, and I'll mosaic myself stronger." Asterisk, tears fell, but they were cleansing, pain alchemizing into wisdom. A call from Sarah, her co-worker and reluctant mentor, sealed a tiny victory. "Promotion pitch tomorrow. Your emotional arc idea from that wrong call? It's brilliant. Own it." Sarah's gruff affection, born of her own widowhood scars, reminded Elena that warmth often hid in unexpected allies. Their next encounter unfolded in his office after hours, the city skyline a tapestry of twinkling resolve beyond the glass. Vulnerability peaked as Elena shared Lila's drawing, her voice cracking. "I joined your call broken, Marcus. But talking to you, it's like glimpsing what destiny might look like. Not perfect, but possible." He stepped closer, the air thick with unspoken gravity, his hand brushing hers in a gesture of profound tenderness. "Maybe this mistake was destiny," he whispered, his breath a caress against the storm-scarred spaces of her heart. In that moment, reflection bloomed into growth. Elena's walls crumbled, not in surrender, but reclamation. She saw herself anew, not the betrayed, but the resilient, the one capable of mending with threads of her own weaving. Personal growth unfurled in waves after. A pitch one with raw, heartfelt slides that moved the room. Nights journaling affirmations that rooted like wildflowers in cracked soil. A weekend volunteering at Marcus's youth center, where a shy teen's thank you. You get it. Like, really get the hurt, mirrored her own rebirth. Marcus became a mirror, not a crutch. Their bond a slow dance of mutual uplift, laced with laughter over shared playlists and quiet confessions under starlit roofs. Pain didn't vanish. It softened, a scar that told stories of survival. As winter's first snow dusted the streets, Elena stood at her window, ring box tucked in a drawer, heart a garden tilled and tender. She'd found peace not in erasure, but embrace, the messy beauty of scars as signposts. Renewal whispered, "You are enough," woven from losses and loves yet to come. In Marcus's eyes, she saw her reflection, a woman alight, destiny's accidental architect. In the tapestry of our deepest wounds, healing is not the erasure of scars, but the art of wearing them as constellations, guiding lights that reveal our unyielding inner strength, reminding us that even in the wrong turn, the universe conspires to lead us home to ourselves. Moral of the story. True healing blooms not from denying our pain, but from reflecting on its lessons with gentle courage, allowing strangers' kindness and our own quiet victories to forge an unbreakable inner strength that turns mistakes into masterpieces of the soul.